Has there ever been a scientific study that has conflicted with your experience when it's come to coaching
Oh,
someone?
thousands. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. I mean, just
So what do you do? What do you
trying
do
to.
in that situation?
Well, so here's the thing, right? It depends. You look at the study and you start to ask more questions. Okay, was this in the same population that I'm coaching? Right. So was the study done? For example, I coach professional athletes for the most part. Okay, great. So was the study done in professional athletes? No, probably not. Does that mean I throw it out? No, but I'm just planting a little flag. Okay, maybe context. Well, were the participants older? Were they younger? Okay, great. How long was it? It was 6 weeks? Hmm, maybe I want it to be long. What were they actually measuring? Maybe they were measuring muscle growth. But my athletes don't care that much about muscle growth, so I'm not going to throw it away. But I tend to deal with performance more. Okay, and so there's all these little flags. Again, you don't throw any of it out. You just sort of you bank it, right? You're like, okay, great, and then you wait for the most part. That's my honest answers. I'm probably not taking a big action step from one study. I'm going to wait. Is the study replicated? Is it replicated in another lab from another scientific team? Okay, great. Did it hold up to different methodologies? And what I mean by that is technical scientific stuff. So did they measure muscle growth correctly? Okay, maybe if we start to see, I actually maybe the best example would be hypertrophy, muscle growth. When I was in school, it was a muscle hypertrophy repetition range was 8 to 12. That was it, right? You do 8 to 12 repetitions per set, and that's the optimal range to grow muscle. And then Brad Schoenfeld started coming out and saying, well, there's actually not a ton of evidence behind that. There's some, but there wasn't a ton. We started doing other things, and we started to realize actually one study had come out, and it was like, well, maybe up to sets of 20 are the same amount. Like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then another study came out, and then another, and then another, and another. And all of a sudden, now there's dozens and dozens of studies that show the repetition range between 5 reps per set up to 30 reps per set, and probably more than 30 reps per set if taken to the same amount of failure and all other variables are controlled for, then you probably get the same amount of muscle growth. And so it was like, okay, it's been replicated multiple times in multiple populations, male, female, in different muscle groups, the quads, the biceps, the triceps groups. Oh, okay. Now I have enough confidence that's probably a real thing. And now I'll start adjusting my coaching practice. Now I'm not going to be so worried about making sure it's always 8 repetitions. And then evidence starts coming out saying, okay, well, why that's all the same for hypertrophy, it's probably not the same for strength. In fact, now it's pretty clear it's not the same for strength. So now I'm baking this as additional information saying, okay, great. So if my client wants pure strength, I'm not going to be doing exclusively or mostly sets of 10 to 20 repetitions. While I'll get equal muscle growth, I'm not going to get equal strength. Okay. At the same time, if my client wants, most amount of muscle mass, but doesn't care at all about strength, okay, now I have a different answer. At the same time, if my client wants a little bit of strength and a little bit of muscle growth, okay, now I have a different range of repetitions that I'll be able to pull my Rolodex from. So that's how you interpret things when they go against your thoughts, which was exactly my thought. 8 to 12 was the number, right? Then you wait for more research. You slowly start integrating it. You start practicing, seeing like, are you seeing the same thing in your clients that they saw in the study? Yes or no? But that's why it takes a little bit of time. It's not something that you should run and change your entire philosophy on because one paper was published. That's probably a little bit of a fool's errand. Be a little bit more stoic and patient. You can pay attention to it. You can start tinkering with it yourself. Or if you have kind of those long-term clients you've had around for a long time, you have coaches and staff, and you can start playing with stuff in-house before you then start deploying it to your paying customers.